Welcome to a short midweek devotion from the Littleton United Methodist Church. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul writes the following words. You know that many runners enter a race and only one of them wins the prize. So run to win. Athletes work hard to win a crown that cannot last. I suppose if he were writing today, a medallion with a ribbon that cannot last. But we do it for a crown that will last forever. I don't run without a goal, and I don't box by beating my fist in the air. I keep my body under control and make it my slave, so I won't lose out after telling the good news to others. And sure enough, near the end of his life, Paul comes back to the racing metaphor. This is in 2 Timothy chapter 4. It's sort of Paul's swan song. That is, he knows he's going to be killed before long, and he's writing his last words. And Paul writes this. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 6. Now the time has come for me to die. My life is like a drink offering being poured out on the altar. I have fought well. I have finished the race. I have been faithful. So a crown will be given to me for pleasing the Lord. He judges fairly, and on the day of his judgment, he will give me a crown to me and to everyone else who wants him to appear with power. Paul fought the good fight, finished the race, was looking for that winner's crown, or today the medallion with the ribbon. Paul chose a good metaphor for living the Christian life, running a race, and running it to win. That is, throwing everything aside that slows you down and run it with all the gusto you can. I've heard so many people kind of tag onto that metaphor. Most of the time when I hear it, though, and maybe you too, most of the time when I hear it, I think of the races, the old Greek games and the Olympics and stuff like that, and the race that's in it. And I hear people often say, but that race needs to be a marathon, not a sprint. Because if you take off too fast and you run just with everything you got and don't pace yourself, you're not going to make it to the end. You're going to hit a wall. And I suppose I always got the impression whenever I heard somebody say that maybe a marathon doesn't take as much energy. I don't know, or it's a little slower paced, or you can catch your breath. You don't burn yourself out all at once. But I think anyone that's ever been on the sidelines of an Ironman triathlon and watched a runner come across, they know there is a wall there. And no matter how slow you start or how much you pace yourself, it takes everything you got to make it within that time frame. And so I can see that, but I want to give you a new metaphor today. I have a distance runner in my family, and he's got the medallions and things to go with it, including the Ironman. And I've watched him train and I've watched him run, but I noticed that when he's training for something like an Ironman or a marathon or whatever it is, that he's often training alone. And he has no one else to beat except himself. And if another runner comes up or behind him, or he comes up behind another runner, often they encourage each other and set a pace together so that they run alongside each other. But the only score he's got to beat is himself. Noble, but I don't think it's the best metaphor for the Christian life. Now, I also have a couple of children and a niece that runs relays. I like that metaphor better. Even the cross-country long-distance marathon type relay, because they're responsible to someone else, and someone else is responsible for them, and they train together and they run together and they try to bring the best out of each other. But if somebody lets the team down, the whole team loses. If everybody works in there, the whole team wins. And I think that's more the way I see my life as a Christian. I don't think that I'm just running through these 60-some years of life just competing against myself. But I think that I've got a baton in my hand that was handed off to me from those that went before me. They ran their race like Paul ran his race. And Paul handed his baton off to Timothy and to Titus. And there are those that handed it off to me. And when I get to the end of my race, I will hand it off to others. And so on from the first early church of Jesus Christ, because the church actually is communal. And I have this slot, this leg of the race that I'm running. It goes right now, right here at this time, but it'll soon be done. But the race won't be finished. And I have a responsibility to those that came before me to run with everything I've got, the race that they started out. And when I finish my leg of the race, or I finish my race and pass it on to someone else, I have a responsibility to do the best job, run the best race I can, and help them be in good position. Because sometimes I see a runner that's a little bit weaker that has a stronger runner right before them or after them to kind of help pick up the slack. And it may be that the runner that comes after me may be a little weaker. Just like I may be weaker than the one that came before me. So let me ask you, what difference would it make to the way you are living as a Christian if you considered yourself as a part of a huge multi-generational relay team for Christ? As if everything you're running today is just part of a longer race. And right now is your time to run with everything you have. Would it make a difference in how you live your life? Would it make a difference in the energy level that you put into it? Would it make a difference in how you treated your body? What difference would it make? See, I think that is more realistic than a bunch of us down through history, each running our own little race. May God watch over you this week as you run your race.